All right, so here's the Chapter 5 Algebra 2 review, page 1. We'll do questions 1 through 8. So the first three ask you to simplify. This is the cube root of 243, so you have to find perfect cubes that go into 243. I'm going to do it with a factor tree. So I know 3 goes into 243 81 times. 3 goes into 81 27 times. 3 goes into 27 9 times, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. So since it's a cube root, we're going to circle anything that happens 3 times. This 3. That's what goes on the outside. And on the inside of the cube root is everything left over multiplied together. So I have this 3 and the 3. When you multiply, it's 9. On the calculator, you can check it easily. Just type in the cube root of 243 and then type in 3 times the cube root of 9, and those should match. The next one, number 2, is unsimplified because there's a radical on the bottom. This one's pretty easy. You just multiply the top and bottom by the root of 11. And the root of 11 times the root of 11 is 11. So the bottom is now, there's no radical on the bottom, so we took care of that. And 5 times the root of 11. Since 5 is not a radical, you cannot multiply those numbers together. So it's just 5 times the root of 11. And that is it. The third one, we're going to use properties of exponents. If you're multiplying exponents with the same base, in this case, the same base is x, you add the exponents. And when you're dividing, you subtract exponents. And if you have any negative exponents, they should go to the top or bottom where they're not. So we don't have that situation. So that I'm just going to do the top first. X to the 2/3 times x to the 8/3 would be x to the 2/3 plus 8/3, which is 10/3. So now I just have a fraction, and now you just subtract the exponents because they still have the same base. So this would be x to the 10/3 minus 4/3. That's a 4 there. And 10/3 minus 4/3 is 6/3. And 6 over 3 is 2. So it's just x squared. Just going to make that a little bit neater so I can use this as a key. So that was that. The next ones are solving. So there's 4 that we need to solve. And those you just undo everything usually in reverse order of operations. So number 4, the first thing we have to do is get rid of this 1/3 exponent. So we're already on the exponents. So I'm talking about this. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. There's no subtraction, addition, division, or multiplication. That's not in a parenthesis. So we're doing this exponent first. And to get rid of the exponent of 1/3, you just raise both sides to the third. So on the left-hand side, that would just get rid of the 1/3 power. The right-hand side is -2 to the third. Make sure that you understand that it's -2, the quantity, to the third. So that's going to be -2 times -2 times -2, which is -8. And now you just solve as usual. So I have to get rid of the -4. I'm going to add it. And then I'm going to divide by 2. And I am done. Now you should check that on your graphing calculator. You know how to do that. If you don't, I'm going to add another video just to remind you. I won't do that right now, but it will be a separate video. So number 5 And you should check these because remember you have to watch out for extraneous solutions. So number 5, they're both are to the fourth root. So to undo a fourth root, you raise to the fourth. This one's actually pretty easy because when you raise both sides to the fourth, you just get rid of those fourth roots. So it comes out to be a nice clean equation that you can just solve. So I'm going to subtract x. And then I'm going to subtract 5. And I've done it. So x equals negative 11. Easy enough. Number 6. Be careful with number 6. It looks very similar to number 5 in that you're going to have to raise both sides to the fourth. But this 2 out in front is a multiplication. So you could get by raising both sides to the fourth as long as you remember to raise this 2 to the fourth as well. But it's a lot easier to get rid of that 2 first. And you should because that's 2 times the root. So you want to take care of that multiplication first by dividing it. So divide by 2. It makes this problem really, really easy. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now you raise both sides to the fourth to get rid of the fourth root. So on the left-hand side, that just gets rid of that root. On the right-hand side is 2 to the fourth. And 2 to the fourth is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 16. Then subtract 9. And 16 minus 9 is 7. Check that on the calculator. It should be good. Now going to number 7, same thing. Just about the same thing as number 6, except 6 was 2 times this root. We have this root plus 3. So take care of that addition first by subtracting 3. Now you square both sides because this is a square root. So when you square the square root, it just eliminates the square root. And when you square 2, that will become 4. Now I'm going to add 4. And finally, I'm going to divide by 2. And I'm left with x equals 4. So that's that. The next problem. This one is a addition problem. So it's asking us to add f plus g of x. So that's f of x plus g of x. So f is 5 times the cube root of x. And g plus is a negative 2 times the cube root of x. Now those are like terms. Since you're adding something times the cube root of x to something else times the cube root of x, you just add the coefficients. So our coefficients are 5 and negative 2. So we can just do 5 plus a negative 2, which is 3. And since they're like terms, just keep the cube root of x. And that's the first page of the review. So, watch it again if you need to. Pause, take notes, do what you have to do. And we'll do page 2 in a separate video.